Well, it's a balmy afternoon on the Homestead. This is the Frugal Gardener, and this is my first full garden tour of the year. This is my new mini food forest, which many of you are familiar with. And I spent a lot of time on this, and this is the reason why I have been showing this a lot, but there's a lot more going on. As I said, I'm the Frugal Gardener. I garden in Zone 7A. That's in the hills of West Virginia. I've been gardening my entire adult life. And since I've been out here, it's been a struggle, just to tell you straight up. So every year, what I've done is I have extended my garden. Instead of starting over, I've just been adding on. This is about to come down because it's been windy, but this is my this is what keeps the deer out. I mean, I'm sure they can probably come up this hill and probably jump over if they really wanted to get in, but it's worked out pretty well. So I'm going to show you around, to show you what I have not been showing you guys lately. And towards the end of the video, at some point in this video, I have two, not one, but two money-saving tips that I'm going to give you guys. So I'm going to start off with two things that aren't so pleasant or aren't so great, and then we'll move on to the good stuff. This is my peach tree that I finally put in the ground, and it speaks for itself. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. This tree is not dead, but obviously it is not doing well. There was leaves on it when I planted it, and the question now is, am I going to dig it up, repot it, or put it somewhere else? Because this is clay soil. I knew it was crappy to begin with. I did add nutrients, I did add manure, I did what I thought was going to be necessary for this to thrive. It has not. This is the garden I put up last year. This garden did well, and I haven't had the time to do anything with it this year. Believe it or not, I do intend to use this garden again, but it's probably going to be for midsummer going into the fall. This was my attempt at growing wheat, and it doesn't look like there's going to be enough to for my experimental bread. So that's something I'm going to have to work on. So this is what inspired me to do this. This is 12 feet wide, 40 feet long, and there's a whole lot going on up there. I'm not going to explain it all to you again because a lot of you guys come every week and you've heard it all before. I'll link to the other videos to show you how this whole thing came about. A couple of months ago, this was just grass. And I basically did a bunch of research. I added a bunch of things because I needed to bring in the birds, the bees, the butterflies, because I was not getting pollination. This did okay. I got a lot of tomatoes out here, I got potatoes out here, certain things out of here, and that's the reason why, like I said, I've going on to this, but this is still going to get plenty of use. So the good news, this is my first batch of potatoes. You're going to see where I've added nutrients here. It's supposed to be raining now. The weatherman, I feel like he, she, the meteorologists are almost always wrong up here. We're up at a decent elevation. We get high winds during the winter time, and the weather patterns change quickly. So I think this is the reason why they had a difficult time telling us when it's going to rain, when it's not going to rain. These are Kennebec potatoes. They've been in here for 2 months. So in another 30 days or so, you'll see the greenery start to die back. And that's when it'll be harvest time. I have more of these, but this is number one. Over here is my mint. This is something that I planted about a year ago, and it's done quite well. The reason why you see this big gap here is because it's overrunning. So I gave a portion of this to the Frugal daughter, and another portion of this to the Frugal nephew, and this is probably going to end up growing back before the summer's out. So this is one of my success stories. This is one of my lavender plants that I'm going to have to replant. I have lavender plants growing all over the place, but they should not be in these containers, so I'm going to have to do something about that. And over this way, this is another one of my successes, which I wasn't able to say until this year. I've had these milk crates for about 10 years now, and at the other property, they were very successful. I was able to get a lot of vegetables out of here, but when I moved here, they're facing a different direction. They were facing this direction at the other property. They're facing here, and I think part of the problem is the siding, and it was heating up these crates. That was not good. And the other problem was the critters, which I've solved both problems because I'm planting, these are green beans, bush beans to be exact. And again, I just added more nutrients in here. I use two different kinds. I won't go into that right now. One of them is a liquid, and this is obviously a powder. This is slow release. So I had to cover these because you don't see deer and you think, okay, I'm home free, I'm good. And then boom, one night they show up and clean you out. And then it's like you took a gamble and you lost. No more gambling. I have to grow pretty much everything I can grow with these food prices the way they are. This is one of my 4 Jamaican sorrel plants. Yes, Keisha H. This is one of my plants that I replanted. I started these out all together, and the rest are behind me. This is more lavender, and over here, this requires some explanation. It's a little bit messy over here. This is one of my blueberry bushes, and my old friend, well, she passed away, Betty, taught me patience. There was a time I would have just thrown this out and said, it's done, it's over, you know, the cold got to it. But no, if you look down here, you'll see new growth. The problem here was this was full of buds in the spring, earlier in the spring. It's still spring, but then it got cold. Then it got hot. Then it got cold. And I guess the plant just said, you know, I'm done for the season. I'm confused. I'm not going to give you anything this year. And that was it. But now it's been warm constantly, and this will come back, but I doubt if I'll get anything off of that this year. So again, that's a good thing. Some of these things are just, it looks kind of random because I've been spending most of my time in here. Like I said, I started from scratch. So some of these things can be a little bit nicer. This is spinach that I grew in here. This I harvested from, I have to replant over here. And I have basil. That's another thing. You're going to see lavender everywhere, and you're going to see these basil plants everywhere. The Frugal daughter cooks with these. So I have about 7 or 8 of these. I actually gave her and my granddaughter a couple of these. So they were happy. And hopefully they'll be here for Father's Day. At any rate, this is something that I almost never show. This is another one of my blueberry plants. This is one of my grapevines. This is not working out so well. This is ginger. The cats and mice and something's been getting up here. So I'm going to have to take measures to protect this. This is what I'm really happy about. This is my first successful attempt at goju berries. This pot is too small for it. It's outgrown it, but I have seen a lot of progress in this in the past month or so. So I'm not going to get, it takes a while before you can get any fruit out of this, but that's okay. I'm patient. The fact that it's growing is enough for me. So goju berries, blueberries, grapes, and garlic. ginger, all growing up here on this little porch together. And now I'm going to show you something that you've probably seen if you're familiar with my channel, and that's way over here. And like I said, now this is from my first year, but you probably won't remember this because it wasn't fenced off. The reason why this is fenced off is because I've had problems with, you name it. We had foxes, we have raccoons, we have deer, we have all sorts of things coming up here. So I will explain to you more in another video about how I got this fence and how you can get it, and this will probably help you the way it's helped me. This is looking a little dry. You see, here we go. Something has got in here in spite of the fence, but in here you are going to see in a couple of weeks, this is filled with onions. These are not regular onions. These are tropia onions from Italy, and I was close enough, you can see some of them starting to come up. This looks super dry. It's not, I watered it yesterday, but again, we're expecting rain, so it'll be crazy for me to go through the trouble of watering this now when I know we're going to get rain. This is concerning me. I don't know, I had voles earlier, and I hope that that's not what's getting into here. I planted beefsteak tomatoes. There's a couple of them on the outskirts here, and right along in here, yesterday, I planted corn. Corn is something that I was able to grow at the other property, but it wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be. So now I'm out here, I have the space, and you know, as long as I don't have any interference from these critters, the way this wind comes through here, you need the wind to kind of help the corn along. So I am hopeful that this is going to work out for me this year. I didn't plant a lot. I didn't plant all through here. Like I said, this is where the onions are. I just planted along the borderline here. Over here is leftovers from last year. This is elephant garlic here, elephant garlic here. I have, well, I thought it was 3, but I have 2 of the elephant garlics still that I'm waiting on. And that's just about, there's 3. There's another one over here. So that is going to take me over to the main garden, which is, well, a lot has been going on in there. So you'll see. So ordinarily, I would have cleaned this up before I shot this video, but because I have been so busy and because it may start raining any minute now, I decided to just show you guys as is. This is clearly a work in progress. There is a lot of things that I'm still working on that I will show you guys an update once I get everything in place. I definitely need to get some more mulch to go in here, and it's been a little bit of a learning curve because the original idea was to plant all up and down here on both sides and on the end. But I've been focusing on these pots because I have not been able to get a decent sized tiller. So I decided to hill this, and this has all been planted. This was planted yesterday. So I'm going to walk you through what I have here. And like I said, a lot of this is new. The goal here, these are, this is Malabar spinach, and these are runner beans. What I'm attempting to do is to grow these over this arch and down this side. Also in here that has not come up yet, excuse me, is trumpet. It's a trumpet vine, and trumpet vines attract the hummingbirds. Everything in here is for something. This goes to what I was saying to you earlier about hits and misses. This is pretty much the same as this. You can see the beans starting to come up. These are pole beans. This is an old Gatorade container given to me by my ex-neighbor. These are also pole beans. They don't look anything alike. The reason is because my original layout was to have a row of everything in containers to go this way, with this being the entrance over to my workstation. What I found out was when these all grew up, these are autumn olives that I talked about before, and these trees started to come up. This was not getting enough sun. Excuse me. This was not getting enough sunlight. This was. So now I moved this out. It may be too late. I'm gonna have to start over with this. Same problem here. If you notice, these look like they were dying, but you see the new growth is actually doing pretty well. And it's because I had to move some things around. This over here, I harvested. So these I have to do over. These are peas that I just recently planted. I have 2 here, and I have some on the other side. This is my second Jamaican sorrel plant that is doing quite well. Like I said, I had 4 of these in one little container, and I kept them in there for as long as I could, not because I wanted to, but because I was busy with other things. Then I realized that the growth was stunted because I kept them in there too long. Once I separated them, boom, they took off. They had this pretty, the color of the buds that come out in the fall and are gorgeous. And you make medicinal teas out of these. So I'm looking forward to actually harvesting them. I got a small harvest last fall, but what happened was I had them in my greenhouse. That's what's left of my greenhouse, which came apart like 3 different times. So it didn't, that's the reason why that didn't work out. That's the reason why I did 4 this time, because I wanted to make sure. These are grapes in here. This has got to be weeded. Like I said, this is a work in progress. These are, oh boy, German pink tomatoes. I talked to you guys about the World Cup, and I said every week I was going to plant a different tomato from the different countries that are going to be participating, which I believe it started the other day. This is a traveler's tomato that I believe this is from Italy. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to do a video on that at some point. This is, well, let's go with this first. This is cucumbers. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. These are cucumbers. And again, you know, it looks kind of crappy. I'll come back and do another video once everything starts coming up, once the rain comes and goes, because there's a lot going on. This is dinosaur kale. I have a couple of those. This is going to be moved. All this is going to be moved at some point. These are, I believe these are peppers. Yes, these are bell peppers. So you got bell peppers, Malabar spinach, elephant garlic, and cucumbers, tomatoes, green beans. Now, I don't want to skip over this. This is very important. or maybe not very important, but it's kind of important. For years, since I've been here now, this is my third summer. August will be 3 years. And I've said this to you guys probably too many times. I struggled because there were no bees, there were no butterflies, there were no birds. So I had to entice them and to bring them in. This doesn't look like much, but if you look close, once again, you'll see what's coming up here. You see this new growth, you see these little buds all up and down here. Because what I ended up doing was, look at this, you can really see it here. In another couple of weeks, these are going to be a lot taller, and what you're going to see are a beautiful bed of flowers that's going to come up here. I tried doing this over here. I was unsuccessful. Look at the soil. Between the soil, the slope, the birds, it wasn't happening. I had to keep this covered. I water this every day for, it's been like a week and a half now. And obviously I'm not going to water it today. Unless the weatherman's wrong, then I'll come out this evening and I'll water it. So this is roughly about 8 feet. And it's actually going to work out better because the plants will be inside so that it will draw in what I need. I planted a variety of things here. This is squash. This is a bug on my tomato plant. And same thing over here. I wanted these to be the entrance coming in, leading up to here. This is what I left off working out yesterday. This I have to clean up. This is why I say to you guys, this is a work in progress. Ordinarily, I wouldn't show this, but I was only able to get out one video last week. I was not able to get out my children's video, which I apologize for. That I'm going to make probably tomorrow. And this is basically now cleanup. I had a bunch of tomato starters and I just threw them all in here because they're kind of parked here. They're kind of on hold. This is the same as the other side. This is another vine that's going to go over this way and also down this way, going over this way. I tell you, there's a lot going on. I planted corn here yesterday also for the first time. So there's corn over there, there's corn over here. Yes, I run the risk of the deer getting back here, but this is not regular corn. Corn can, depending upon the variety of corn, you can have corn that can go up to 6 to 12 feet. This corn is only going to grow 5 or 6 feet. So if you notice, these poles are a little bit higher. I can add to the top of this fence if I need to. So over here are more peppers. These two are the other two Jamaican sorrel plants that I spoke of earlier, that I had together. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the pine cones. I need to put more pine cones in here because the pine cones will help reserve the moisture. It'll keep it from drying out faster. Speaking of which, I have straw underneath this grow bag and underneath this grow bag. I have straw in both of these, which I did a video on, that will help keep the moisture into the soil. These are lemon cucumbers, which I've never grown before. My friend Pat turned me on to these, and this one didn't like it's doing too well. These two are thriving, so 2 out of 3 ain't bad. These are more cucumbers, but the cucumbers didn't look like they made it when I transferred them, but it's also a tomato plant in here. So I might throw a couple more cucumber seeds in here. While I explain this, this is like the Energizer Bunny. This is more radishes. I grow radishes in this all summer Frugal daughter was here like a month ago. I gave her all the radishes out here. This is round 2. These are going to be ready in another week, week and a half. When they are harvested, I add more nutrients to the soil, and then I'll be round 3, then round 4. I'll just keep planting these until it gets cold. This is my second bin of potatoes. I showed you the first one that was down here, and there it is. So that's the sister to this one. They're almost identical. They're both in bins, and they're both doing well. So another month, we'll have potatoes. This is the third one. The difference is obvious. This one is in a grow bag. So less potatoes. It's smaller. I'm almost done. Moving on. This should be obvious to most of you guys. This is lettuce. I did a video on the temperature, the soil temperature. I can put this away until the fall because temperature is not going to get any cooler. And here, success. I don't know if you can tell what that is from here. It's my first pea pods. I'm actually getting peas out of this. Took me a while. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So yes, this is to go along with the one that I showed you, the 2 that I showed you from down this other end. So 2 down here, 1 here, and I thought I had another one somewhere else. This is my fig tree, which obviously is going to have to be transferred. This is something I'm going to have to put something in or redo. So this is obviously a bird bath, and also they can, get a drink. So someone posted a couple of weeks ago that I needed something for them to rest on, to perch on. So that's the reason why I added this piece of wood. I'm probably going to put something smaller in here, and I'm going to have to add water to this. I told you guys, this is a work in progress. I'm still getting things done. The most important thing for me was to get this stuff in the ground. So I have 2 sprinklers, fountains here, and even though there's not that much water in them, they're both working. This is another thing that is here to attract the pollinators. This was an experiment that actually worked. This is the same combination of seeds that I planted down here in the ground. By the way, all of these flowers here are going to die off in a couple of weeks, or either I'm going to rip them out, one or the other. But this was my clever attempt at luring in the pollinators, because these are portable. Obviously, these are coffee creamers that I could have thrown out, but I'm going to move these around the property. I have been seeing more bees. Thank God, finally. I've been seeing more bees. I've been seeing a lot more butterflies, and also birds. One of the reasons why is because this was filled 2 days ago. And these birds love whatever this feed is, whatever this mix is. I just bought some more, so I'll be filling this up. This is red lettuce, which I would not have ordinarily put here, but I really wasn't expecting this to come back. So this came back. This is an apple tree behind here, which is dormant. This has got to be cleaned out. All up and down here, this is watermelon. And this is corn. And this is butternut squash. The goal is to fill this thing up. The goal is to have, everywhere you look, to have food growing. I have this covered because I have manure in here that I've been using. And this area over here, which I would never ordinarily not show you guys, I'm showing you because it's gardening, man. This is what happens. It doesn't, a lot of people will show you things. They'll show you the finished product, but they don't want you to see what you have to go through to get from point A to point B. It's not always, you know, going to be the way that you expect it to go. And this is how it's going to look in some cases until you get everything cleaned up. I want you guys to see the before and the after. I promise you 2 tips, and here they are. So I recently picked up these clips here, got them from Amazon, and what gave me the idea was I've been using clips. The Frugal Daughter laughs at me all the time because I've been using these little red clips. You probably see me use them for very different reasons. They come in very handy in gardening. And so if you ever lost seeds because the pack turned over or for whatever reason, you can relate. So these are inexpensive. I think I got like about a dozen of these. They're you get like 3 or 4 of each color. I'll put a link in here in case you want to get these for yourself, because they're not just good for this. They're good for if you want to put messages up on the post, reminders to yourself. There's things that you can do to try to do this one-handed. Yeah. So this is an example. If you are working in a certain area and you want to give yourself a reminder, you can use these all over the place. So I have several uses for that. This has been a showstopper. This is my hummingbird feeder. Hummingbirds, they hang out up here and they come here all day long. They're getting more and more comfortable with me being in here. They don't run away as much. But the problem is this is kind of empty right now. Yeah, not kind of empty. It is empty. So I need to refill that. I told you guys what the ratio was in the last video, so you can go back and check that out. And the last thing that I wanted to show you guys before I let you get back to your day is my chicken scratch. This is something I came up with recently because my garden has gotten so big and I've run into this problem over and over. These are the beets. This is my label. I have labels all over the place. I also have a dog who likes to play pranks. So Rory, when I have these indoors with the starters, she pulls them out of the pots. And if you've ever grown starters, you know that a lot of times they look alike. And I have a hard time figuring out which is which until they get older. And the second problem is the weather. These out in the sun all day and in the rain, and sometimes even in the cold, use them again the next spring. The letters wear off, the numbers wear off. So what I've decided to do was make a directory. This is mostly pretty much everything I'm growing. There's a couple of things that I have to put on the other page, and these are the dates that I planted them. The reason why some of these are blank is because I haven't completed this yet. So I'm going to go through, look at the dates that are on here before they get taken off, add them to here. This way, regardless of what happens, anything that happens here, I'll know. Some of these things are obviously you're going to know. I know the pole beans and such, but I won't know the date that I planted them. So this is something else that might come in handy for you guys. So yeah, you have the little clothespins and you have a list of what you're growing. This way you'll be organized and you won't have any problems, but that's 2 less problems that you'll have to deal with. So that's it for today. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you taking time out to walk with me on my complete tour. And I promise you the next time you see the inside of my food forest, a lot of this will be cleaned up and this will look a lot neater and a lot more appealing. I'm the Frugal Gardener. Remember what I always tell you guys? When you grow your own food, you'll always know where it comes from. That's especially now with everything that they're putting in the foods. You want to grow your own. It's less trips to the supermarket, less expensive, and a whole lot healthier. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Enjoy the rest of your day.